I am always reminded of the Quranic verse, Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ ثُمَّ رَدَدْنَاهُ اسفل سافلین. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that I created the man in the best of form, best of mold, in the best of structure, the best creation, in other words, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created for the universe is the human being. And then he says, ثُمَّ رَدَدْنَاهُ أَسْفَلَ سَافِلِينَ. Then I have placed him the lowest of the low. And then he gives exceptions of those that really are not in that category of lowest of the low. Those are the believers and they do good deeds and enjoin good and forbid bad, and the rest of the characteristics that are given to a best human being. Every son of Adam or daughter of Adam is the child of Adam, and yet some of them are destined to go to heaven, others are not so lucky. And from this particular verse from Surah Watteen, that I get these two verses 4 and 5, I derive from this the message that we are really supposed to, in our life, try to recognize ourselves, recognize the purpose of our being, and try to get closer to our Creator to the extent possible. And we must struggle during our entire life to recognize that there is a purpose for which we have been created, and then that we have to fulfill that purpose to the best of our ability. If you look upon the message that we get from these verses and from the blessing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised us that He will give, here is what I see what we should be doing in the month of Ramadan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us that in this month He locks up the shaitan amongst jinns and amongst humans, and they are not given the liberty like they have the rest of the year to misguide people, especially those people that have made an intention to come closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by worshipping Him and praying to Him. Now here, let me remind ourselves that all our souls were created up in a different realm of life, close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then they descend into this world, the earth, and the earthly creatures, including humans. So humans kind of were created on this earth after this earth was made habitable for humans. So earth was created, and all the things, the plants, the animals, the oceans, the water, the atmosphere, the oxygen, and all that came into existence so that it can sustain human life. And when it was good and ready to accept Adam, then Adam came into this world, and then his children, one after the other. The souls would come from the higher realm and get into the human body when the human children of Adam was born, one at a time. And then humans with the soul in them now have to recognize the purpose of their life. So this is what I derive from, and I'm not an Islamic scholar, and this is not the best explanation that one can make of those two verses that I quoted. But this is how I understand it, and somebody can do better. But what I am saying is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that I created the man in the best of form, comes very pure form, 100% pure when he joins the physical body. Now, after he joins the physical body, and before that physical body becomes a life outside mother's womb, that is when it starts at zero. Asfal saflin is that point in human creation when a baby is born. Now it's up to that soul to keep itself pure. And when that soul goes through the life and becomes a grown person, and then an older person, and then mature person, and then passes on again, in that duration, after the adulthood to the death, that person has to really recognize, accept Islam, recognize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is his creator, and then do good deeds and try to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by zikr and by his remembrance. And there are other methods that one does. Now, for the brevity, to keep it brief, let me just say that the best example I find that is in the month of Ramadan, there is a tasbíh, taraweeh that we are supposed to recite. Some people may find that there is no basis for that in hadith or Quran or the deeds of the Sahaba. So this is probably an innovation. But to me that is immaterial. I feel that a dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a dua. You pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give you the blessings. That beautiful tasbih taraweeh glorifies Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Subhana dhil mulki wal malakut, Subhana dhil izzati wal azmati wal habati wal kudrati wal kibriyai wal jubrut, Subhana al malikil hayy allazi la yanamu wa la yamut, Subbuhun kuddusun rabbuna wa rabbul malaikati wal ruh. Then the dua comes. Allahumma ajirna minan nar. O Allah, save us from hellfire. Ya Mujiru, Ya Mujiru, Ya Mujiru. O you who saves us from hellfire. O you who saves us from hellfire. O you who saves us from hellfire. When you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to save you from hellfire, and you glorify him to the extent possible before that, oh, you are the purest of the poor, powerful of the most powerful, owner of the universe and all of those beautiful attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala you mention, and then you ask him to forgive you. When shaitan is chained and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I listen to anybody that prays for me and I'm looking for an excuse to forgive, this is the best time then to really ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala during the month of Ramadan for forgiveness, and it's up to him as to how he will forgive us. If you are sincere and if you make that dua from your heart, and if you are made of pure intentions and you have a good background of purity, and you really are a true believer in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and realize that nothing happens without his mercy, without his permission, and without his mercy, then this is the best time to invoke his mercy. बहाना ढूंढती फिरती है रहमत मौला, बड़ी खता है जो बंदा कोई दुआ न करे. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is looking for an excuse to forgive us. It would be a very tremendous mistake if we don't make any dua, any supplication for him to forgive us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us all and give us the ability to remember him in the true sense and get closer to him possible. खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना कि हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा बंदे से खुद पूछे, बता तेरी रज़ा क्या है. Develop your soul, develop your inner being, spiritual being, to the extent that you are so close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that then he asks you, what do you want me to do for you?